Am I wrong for telling my fiancé to drop his best friend? My fiancé, Mexican 24, and I, Black 21, have been together for almost 2 years now. We've known each other since I was a freshman in high school and reconnected back in 2020. He's had this best friend who we'll call B, 23 Mexican, since he was a freshman in high school. My fiancé thinks B as a family because of how much stuff they went through together. Fast forward to my fiancé and I first dating. He told his friends not to use the N-word around me as it's disrespectful, right? Well, my fiancé introduced me to all his friends, B included, and B used the N-word profusely in front of me, knowing how I don't tolerate that. My fiancé at the time laughed and said, I already warned him, so that being my first impression of him, I already didn't like him. Fast forward to a few weeks ago, my fiancé was showing me something in his group chat with all of his friends. I see a text from B and it says, go hang out with your cotton picking wife while you eat rocks. I obviously confronted my fiancé about this and he got pretty defensive about it. He said he was sorry B said that about me, but tried to basically back up B, saying things like, he always says stupid stuff. He doesn't mean it. It's how we joke around. He doesn't know what's wrong to say. Mind you, B is a grown man. Then my fiancé tried to defend it again by saying, he's been my brother since high school when no one else wanted to be my friend, stuff like that. I explained to him that if my family or friends ever said something racist towards him, I'm dropping them without hesitation. He said he understood, but that he's known B longer than he's known me. My fiancé said he dropped B as a friend. Only problem is they all played together on a game called FIFA. And if my fiancé were to stop talking to B, then all his other friends might drop him. Basically, my fiancé won't drop him because he's scared of losing friends. I genuinely don't know what to do in this situation. Update. Thank you to everyone leaving their opinions in the comments. I greatly appreciate you guys taking a minute to say something. Now I'm just trying to think how I can even bring these points up to him. The last couple of times I tried, he got pretty defensive and exploded. Started ranting about who I am to tell him who he can be friends with, how everybody around him hasn't supported him, how he's done everything for himself, even though I, his family, and friends have done so much. He did apologize for blowing up on me, though. Edit 2. Man, oh man, I'm recalling things he said to me when he blew up and it's hitting me like a train. I wish I could put all it here, but it would be a completely separate post at this point. I'll leave this here, though. When meeting his dad's side of the family for the first time, it started off fine. But then his uncle started getting pretty racist as well as the rest of his family. He cussed them out, corrected them, and had us leave. I was in shock how quickly it all progressed. His uncle is very against the N-word and racism allegedly, but became racist all of a sudden. In my fiancé's rant, he said, why didn't you let me know I was doing the right thing? Most men would just let it happen and not stick up for their girl. I feel like I shouldn't have to let him know he did the right thing. Standing up to a racist and shutting them down seems like a common sense to me. It almost seemed like he wanted a pat on the back for it. Edit 3. We finally did it as of last night, guys. My fiancé is now my ex. It's been a wild 2 years with him. We would have gotten married next month, actually. Just thought I'd let you all know. First of all, I'm so glad OP finally left that guy. Clearly, one thing about me is, people who stay with people who are racist towards them, I've never understood that concept, because now, if you have children with that person, like, say, OP and her fiancé were to get married, they were to have children, which they probably would have kids, and now your kids are going to be half of you, the race that the in-laws or whomever is coming from that side of the family doesn't like. Now all that hatred and disrespect will go into your innocent child or children. I don't understand. Besides, racism should be a deal breaker. And OP's husband, or whatever the hell he was to her, he sounded like one to say, oh, I'm not racist, but to condone racism. It's crazy. Oh, I'm not racist, but my best friend can say racist stuff. Oh, I'm not racist, but my uncle can say racist stuff. Oh, I'm not racist, but whenever I stand up for you, you have to give me a cookie for doing the right thing. Why did you acknowledge that? So I'm glad OP broke up with him. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom I don't want to replace my husband the way she replaced my dad? I, 30 female, lost my husband 4 years ago. We share 2 children together. Our son is 9 and our daughter is 6. Since my husband's death, I have focused on myself and my children, and I have no interest in dating or finding another husband. My mom has experience with this, as when my sister and I were children, 6 me and 8 her, we lost our dad and mom remarried 15 months later. And at the time, she told us we were getting a new dad. Once her husband arrived in our lives, there was an expectation and a pressure to call him dad, and mom took down all photos of dad. Me and my sister took some photos of dad and hid them with our friends out of fear mom would destroy or throw them all away. She didn't. But the ones we didn't take were kept locked in the storage somewhere and have never seen the light of day. My sister asked for them on a few occasions and was told she didn't need them. Our dad's stuff is likely in there too. If they weren't tossed in the garbage, it caused a lot of strain between us and mom. For the last 2 years, my mom has been dropping hints that I should get back out there, and I always said I didn't want to or I would ignore it. Then a couple of months ago, she told me I need to get my kids a dad before it's too late, that I need a husband. I told her they have a dad and he doesn't need to be replaced. She dropped it for another few weeks, but then last week she brought up again. She told me that the kids need a dad and I need a husband around or I will be alone and lonely for the rest of my life. She told me I can't remain dedicated to being my husband's wife for the rest of my life. She said I'm too young and the kids are too young to never get another dad. I told her I don't want another husband and my kids don't need another dad. She asked me where I would be if she had that mindset and I didn't have a dad. I told her I lost my dad at 6 and miss him every day, and I never had another one. Things escalated from there and asked me how I could say that when her husband has been my dad for 24 years. I told her he never has been and never will be, and just because she replaced my dad doesn't mean I want to replace my husband. Mom was furious and told me that wasn't fair, and I should understand her better. I told her I understood her even less after losing my husband because I would never remove all traces of him from the home and I would never deny my kids his things the way she did. I would never force my kids to call someone else dad, and I told her I can't even imagine wanting to find them someone else to call dad. I told her they had an amazing dad and he's still their dad, just the way mine will always be my dad. She called me spiteful and selfish, and she went to my sister for backup, but she told her the way she feels the same. My aunt, who is my mom's sister, told me I shouldn't have said what I did, and accusing her of replacing my dad instead of saying she just wanted us to be happy is cruel, and I'm old enough that I should understand. Am I the a-hole? I mean, there's nothing wrong with people getting remarried after their spouses die, but why would you want to try to replace the person that died, calling the person dad, removing all traces from the person who died? That's way too much. And wouldn't her wanting her children to be happy include her listening to what her kids want? Because last I checked, they're actively saying they don't want this new man and they don't want traces of their dad who died, to be removed from the house. Like, I think wanting your children to be happy is listening to what they want.